thorns everywhere in Virginia, yeah. So we're cutting thorns and made like a whole wall of thorns and like that. And like, we
That's
thought,
crazy.
you're never getting through there. But then they would just go through the same door we went through. I just realized that I'm flying out of Burbank and I'm like hyped about it.
Oh yeah,
Whoa.
dude.
How come you finally changed your flight?
Well, it just depends. I always do what's cheaper, and like Burbank happened to be cheaper this time, so it's like fun.
Do you just go into LAX?
I almost always do that.
I think even if it's not cheaper, I think Burbank might be because of the Uber.
Well, the thing about it, right, is the times. So like because we always leave here, and sometimes we're done at 7. I'm like, I gotta make sure I'm like, it's like 8:30, right? Like, or else I'm screwed. I'm gonna miss a flight. So yeah. Anyway, Burbank worked out the same. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Action!
Do you boys remember when you stopped, like, thinking you're gonna play with action figures anymore?
Oh, bro, you know what?
It was a bittersweet time.
You know the actual time?
No, I don't. But I do remember playing with GI Joes a ton.
Me too.
Dude, I think I was in 6th grade and I was embarrassed that I was playing with them because I would choreograph these scenes and these fights with all my guys. Yeah. And I was like, Nick, you're too old to be playing with this. You're about to be in middle school next year. You better cut this.
Big boys aren't doing this.
So you had to actually wean off of it? Like, you had to have that talk?
I had to tell myself, like, you're being a little dude. You better.
6th grade. That's 11. You were 11.
Yeah, that's too old. I should have been playing
No,
sports.
that's about where I was. I remember my younger brothers were playing with action figures, and then I went home and I was all excited to play with them. And while I was playing, I was like, I don't think I can do this.
It doesn't hit the same.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't even ride a bike, and I'm spending my time.
You were around 11 as well.
I was like, yeah, as Indian style. I was like, what are we doing here?
I don't remember how old I was, but I know it was too old.
Like junior high?
I don't think it was junior high.
It sucked because like the new Star Wars movies had just gotten re-released, and like they had like the Millennium Falcon, and we had just gotten that for Christmas.
Ooh,
and like I barely even got to play with it before I was over it.
Did it transition into something else?
Yeah, are you lumping in toys in general with action figures? Because I feel like I smoothly transitioned into like cars and like model stuff. And so I went right into like Hot Wheels and like toy trucks that I built ramps for.
But
we're gonna edit that out because that's nothing that's not relevant.
It's different if you think they're, if you're giving them like dialogue and stuff. That's playing with them like an action figure. You know what I mean?
Like giving it life?
Yeah, giving it life. Giving it life. That's the thing. Yeah. Because When did you stop giving things life?
Yeah.
That's when I started playing video games. I think like with like 6 to 7. I think the video games was my substitution for that. But dude, I was so embarrassed with how I'd choreograph things. I would be like, yeah, dude, it'd be really bad.
Well, before you reached embarrassment, were you like so proud of the giant fight scenes you choreographed?
Yeah, for sure. I was like, this is gonna be sick.
Let's pay off.
These 2 guys are gonna come at him. He's gonna take them out real quick, and then kind of plan it all out, and then be like, yeah, that was tight. Let's run it again, and then we do it.
Yeah. I think playing pretend and that era of giving life to figurines all ended in the same for me. But I can't pinpoint when. But
when you got jumped in.
Yeah, dude. Joe was like 6.
It was in elementary.
The gang life chose me, baby.
It was in elementary school. It was probably like 4th grade.
What were the toys that you were playing with?
I had GI Joes, Ninja Turtles. I had
Spray cans,
Legos. I had the little army figurines.
Beretta.
And then like I would put, like when you're a kid, you give life and then they'll talk and whatever, right? But where that transitioned into was World War II models. Like going to the hobby store and then you buy.
Turned 70 real quick.
Yeah. You guys never did that?
Never.
No.
You went to World War II models, but only the Japanese ones.
Oh, those models. Okay.
It was
Pearl Harbor set.
You guys never got into like making the car?
I did. Yeah, I did model cars. And
That's
stuff,
what I'm saying,
I
but
never did World War
Steve
II.
just said to edit that part out.
Yeah, we did. We edited it out. So don't.
Don't
So
bring
I
it
have to
up,
repeat
bring
it.
it
I have to repeat it. Yeah, I transitioned into models.
And then I got into art, like hella into like drawing and shit. But that, I do remember though looking at my toys and then like not being able to like sit there and make them fight.
The magic wears off. It's
Yeah, but I do remember that moment going, now these are my display.
Yeah.
Like you have them like chilling on your shelf, but it's like Toy Story.
To me, it was like when you're holding when you're holding an action figure, it was like looking at exactly what was in the show, right? So you're like, it's exactly that, right? Because you're a kid. And then just the magic wears off one day. You're like, this is a piece of plastic and it looks...
Yeah, but when and why? Like,
I don't know.
Because I do remember feeling like I can't do it anymore because it doesn't feel right.
Right.
But I don't know, like, that moment of, like, not being excited.
Like, I'll never forget Batman 1989. My dad and mom take me to the movies. And then afterwards, my dad did the pimpest thing. We went to, like, there was a costume store attached to the movie theater. Or like in the mall or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And we went there and like I tried on this. It's just like a little shitty kid's cape with a Batman ears and
I had that.
mask.
Yeah, right, styrofoam.
Styrofoam.
Yeah.
And I put that on and I was like looking at Michael Keaton's Batman in the movie. Like to me in the mirror, I'm literally Batman. It's a fucking 1-to-1 match.
And I wore it to sleep.
Yeah, dude, legit. But then like I don't know, 10 years goes by and you're like, that's not Batman. Are you fucking kidding me, bro?
That's true.
Right? It's like crazy.
I don't even have a full suit.
That's so far off.
I think there was in that transition though, there was like you could have gave me almost any toy. You could have gave me a rag doll and I would have figured it out. I would have like put string around his neck and hung him or whatever, you know?
Wow.
Or that's why, or you know when you tie like grocery bags to it and you're like shooting parachutes off.
Yeah, that's.
I would have done anything. Yeah. But then there came a time also when I started getting a little bit more like I guess intellectual with like what toys I wanted, but like they weren't available at the store. So instead of getting Wolverine, which I wanted, I got Omega Red.
Nice. That's a good one.
Yeah, but like
mature
it's not
choice.
what you wanted at the time. It's just the one that was still on the shelf.
You're gonna keep saying to your friends like, yeah, everyone has Wolverine. I got Omega Red.
Yeah.
Nobody has Omega Red.
But like you can't, you don't have
You
the
can change his
same.
ponytail. Look.
You don't have the same storylines in your head of what you could do with Omega Red.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like,
he has less range as a person.
yeah. So I think
He's
I
just a
started
bad
like,
guy.
transition. I was like, oh, maybe I should play with something else because I don't have like the toys I really wanted. Whereas before, you could have got me anything and I would just imagine.
Yeah, I imagined it. Dude, I went to the Pentagon one time. Weird story, but my buddy's dad was like worked at the Pentagon because we lived in Fairfax, Virginia, so we're right by it. So he took us to the Pentagon one time on like a bring your kids to work day, and I was like, you gotta take me to the Pentagon. That sounds sick. And then we went to the Pentagon with like our Power Rangers toys, but we didn't have the Power Rangers play set yet because nobody could get that shit, right? Yeah. So then I remember being at the Pentagon and we're like raiding fax machines for paper and tape and staples and shit. We're made like a little like Power Rangers center like out of paper.
That's tight.
That's the best though.
Yeah, like you just look, it just looks exactly like it to you in your brain. But
Yes.
and then we're like driving back, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, I brought like the Power Rangers set home from the Pentagon.
I think.
I got lucky with that.
Classified.
Man Center, dude.
My parents had the dry cleaners, so we're stuck at the dry cleaners all the time. But here's the thing: the one perk about it is that you always have to get boxes of hangers. And every single time the hanger box would get empty because you use all the hangers, you just have cardboard boxes.
Oh.
So I would just have this unlimited supply of.
Dude, you were kid
That's
rich.
dope.
That's kid rich, man.
Yo, I was doing the most insane stuff. The only thing I got in trouble for is maybe using the entire roll of tape and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. To wriggle.
I remember being hella jealous when I went to my friend's house because he had a whole castle of cardboard boxes. And I'm like, it was probably looking like shit, but I remember thinking, dude, this is fucking next level.
Peak of luxury.
Yeah, so like on just taking a box and turning it into like some sort of building for my action figures plan, that's one thing. And then on the crazy days when you're really stuck there and you make a maze with like your sister, when you're taping boxes together and like doing tunnels and stuff, that was insane.
You know what I think this is? It's like when you're younger and your imagination is like way wilder, it's like you need less of the drug. So you need less of like whatever this thing is, you just can use the imagination. The older you get, the more it needs to be real. So like you could get a stick and that's your gun. And for some reason it turns into an AK-47, it's ready to go.
Yeah, it looks like it.
But then the older you become, it's just a fucking L-shaped stick. Give me something like a squirt gun.
And I don't want to look silly in front of my friends holding this L-shaped stick. Like,
And then eventually, it has to be an airsoft gun, because it's like if it's not an it's not an airsoft gun, it's not cool enough, you know. And then I think that's
Super lame, dude.
That's the game. Is like the older you become, it has to be more and more real, or else it doesn't feel good.
Dude, like I remember shooting the Nerf bow and arrow at my sister, and it was like I just killed her in the woods.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but then eventually you're just like, wait, Nerf, nah, that shit. Like,
I'd rather have nothing.
Doesn't even hurt her.
Do you know what the hack was? There's a strange hack I just realized I went through. So like I played G.I. Joe all the time. That was my main thing, is I made stories and stuff. And then I realized that those Maisto model cars that were like 1/18 scale to the real car were the exact size that a G.I. Joe could look like it was proportionately his car. Oh. So then I was like, great, I got a bunch of those. Now I'm gonna make car movies. And I started doing all this stuff. And before I knew it, I had a bunch of like younger, like much younger cousins that would have to come over, and our family would have to take care of them for the day or whatever. So then I started to administer games for them. And I'd be like, okay, here, I'm gonna do this for you guys. And I would make like D&D style games of like pick your character, and they'd pick whatever G.I. Joe.
That's dope.
I'd make the story, and they would go through the story. I'd make like the town, and they walk around. I want to talk to this guy. I'm like, okay, hey, how are you? Welcome to town. I'd be each person, and then I did.
You're
that
the game
for
master.
So long.
Facilitator fun.
I did it for so long for them growing up that like I was still technically playing.
Oh.
But I was already too old. But it was for them.
Yeah.
But also I didn't have to let go the same way.
I remember sitting with my brothers, and they had the Millennium Falcon thing, and they're playing Star Wars, and I remember like sitting Indian style with them, and like they're in the magic, and the magic wore off of me. I'll never forget that.
Damn.
Like that feeling of like I'm pretending that I see the magic still, but I don't anymore. It was really sad.
Oh, that's
Because they were your younger brothers, or?
Yeah, both younger brothers. Yeah.
Dude, that's just how age gets you though. But like that's the whole point, right? Because I had a rubber band gun, and I love this thing. Like you just be able to set up stuff, shoot it, crank it, long rubber bands, shoot the stuff. And then I go over to like one of my parents' friends' house, and they had like older kids, these older Vietnamese boys, and that's when they introduced me to like the slingshots that with the nuts and bolts, they were killing birds on.
Damn.
You're like, that is way better.
So I brought my like rubber band gun. And they were like, and then they'll go grab their slingshots, and they'll be like, and you see a bird drop, and I don't think I ever picked up that rubber band gun again.
Dang.
That's like
Threw that shit in the trash, huh?
That's like when I took Nikki to my house for the first time, and she saw my rear projection TV. And she's like, what the fuck? And it's because everyone had flat screens by then. And I'm like, you don't understand. This thing's state-of-the-art 720p. And she's like,
720?
yeah, I mean, it was like a gigantic monstrosity. Like, fucking, it is weighed like as much as a piano. And I was so proud of it. And she was just like, okay, yeah, I mean, yeah. And it took me like a year to be like, yeah, I gotta get rid of this.
And those the screens on those when the TV's off is still white.
Yeah, legit.
It's still on looking.
I was so proud of that thing because I got it in like 2006.
Yeah, that would have been. I mean, those things were like you'd have to mortgage to buy those back in the day.
Yeah, no, I saved up for it. It was like a big moment. I actually slept outside on Black Friday to get my TV. It was my TV, and I was already telling my family, like, when I move out, I'm taking it with me to LA, And I did, and then I remember sending out Super Bowl invites, and I'm like, you're gonna watch the Super Bowl on state-of-the-art television and all this. And when people showed up, I think they were too polite to tell me, like, this is state-of-the-art. What the fuck are you talking about? Because it was 2 years ago.
Did your parents ever actually make any comments about you're too old to be doing this for action figures?
I'm sure, but I don't remember.
My dad blatantly would say it all the time.
Really?
Yeah. All the time.
Remember that.
He would say it all the time.
How old were you?
I don't know. I just don't remember a time where he wasn't saying that.
Oh, damn, what a hater.
Yeah, he was always like not letting me be a kid. He was like, "Dad, you're too old for that."
It's probably like, hey, can you take me to the bathroom? Hey, you're too old for that.
Wipe your own ass.
Yeah, because I would ask him to buy me the toys when we go to the store, and he's like, "You want that? You're too old for that." Like,
That's probably why.
I was like, "What?"
Did you guys ever play like war with your classmates after school? So like we would be like, I don't know if they do this now, but we would just after school, because some kids would stay after.
Okay.
So it's like after school, we're playing war, pass it down, right? And then we would all meet, and then we'll have one side versus the other side, and then it's just kids on all sides going for like an hour straight.
Yeah, that's fun, man.
And I was like, dude, I missed that because I can just sit here in one corner and then like I think I'm really just blasting fools all day.
But you'll get mad if they didn't follow the rules. Like, I got you.
I got yeah.
I gotta go down.
We did capture the flag in my neighborhood. So when we got home from school, it's like, hey, we're playing capture the flag today, this weekend. It's like everyone's like, holy shit, this is gonna be intense, you know?
Yeah.
And we always built forts. So like, because there's enough wooded areas where we always built forts around there, and we would take like, we thought it was like so sick because we would cut thorns and then we'd make like a thorn wall.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was.
That's crazy.
What the heck? That's real.
Thorns everywhere in Virginia, yeah. So we're cutting thorns and made like a whole wall of thorns and shit like that, and like we
That's
thought,
crazy.
you're never getting through there, but then they would just go through the same door we went through.
Dude, no wonder Fortnite is so huge.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no, building forts was like those are my memories when I think about, you know, after my action figure days is building forts, and like that was the best.
Really fun. It's fun. You know what's fun too is like setting up games like that purely just to try to flirt with girls. Like setting up guy-girl games, and then you just did it to have your sights set on interacting with.
So you could get those little tingles.
Little tingles, yeah.
Hi, oh hey, what are you doing?
Little tingles. That was the best, man.
In elementary school, then you're advanced.
Oh, I was getting the tingles in kindergarten.
I didn't know what to do with it. I had no
I like
idea.
to play
Because there's a lot of
house.
hot acid in Fairfax, bro.
It's mostly.
In Indy it was different, but when we moved to Fairfax, I saw all the hot ass.
God, dude.
Also, you didn't care to close on the little tingles. To get the little tingles was all you needed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to do after that. All I wanted was just a little like weird attention.
This is like a dog chasing a car. It's like, after that, what are you gonna do, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, if the car stops, the dog stops and goes.
Yeah. Well. What did you do with all your toys then?
Oh, my mom still has them to this day, and she was like, our grandkids are gonna play with this shit, and I'm like, Mom, they're gonna be playing with the toys of the era, or they're weird. You understand?
They're gonna play with vintage toys.
And she just refuses to accept that.
Mine are all in the Downey garage. Like I can find every GI Joe
Wow.
Dang.
Hey, Hot Wheels are still
I hear that.
They're collectible.
like almost the same
go to yard
in every
sales.
way.
still there. Oh yeah,
Like
exactly.
what
The way
Hot
they are.
Wheels were before, it's like the same today.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My nephew still loves playing with Hot Wheels.
That's one of the timeless ones, though.
Some people will buy loose Hot Wheels that are not even nice Hot Wheels, but just obscure cars that they wouldn't dare make today. Like a freaking, I don't know, Chevy Cavalier or something that's like, there's no interest to do that now.
Yeah.
But then back then, it was like a throwaway car, and they'll buy it loose for a good
Yeah, like a Saturn.
few bucks. Nothing crazy.
Even our Ninja Turtles, think about that, right? They look different now.
Yeah, they do.
You can't just hand a kid the same Ninja Turtle and they...
No, he'll be
They're
like,
gonna
who's
destroy
that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It looks like the bootleg version to them.
But my mom doesn't understand that. She's like, that's a Ninja Turtle. And so...
Barbies are different now.
Yeah.
Their boobs are smaller. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't
Really?
know.
They're not as hot.
My mom kept my sister's strawberry shortcake. That might
That's
take some of you back. And she, to this day, is like, I know the girls are going to play with the strawberry shortcake. And my sister's kids couldn't give up.
Oh.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, because then you're doing it for you. It's like, I want to know you're doing this.
Some people say that hoarders do it for them.
Your toys are still at home in a.
No,
They dump all that shit?
I think so. I think everything got rid of.
Launched it off
Yeah, I
the cliff.
think we probably gave all ours to like other kids.
Other church. You maybe get to church.
Yeah.
I will say if I rummaged through my parents' hoarded garage and I found my blue and yellow Tonka tow truck, I would trip out. And I would, as a grown-ass man with no shame, I would play with it for
You gotta find some dirt.
at least 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Well
sad.
played.
What are you doing with it?
Said. Well said.
Show us.
Make a vroom vroom.
Honestly,
You're gonna go vroom vroom?
The best thing I did, because for some reason it had like no mechanical like axle or motor or anything like that. So it just felt like it kept rolling. If you like pushed it, it would just keep rolling. So I used to build the sickest ramps with the cardboard boxes.
Oh, nice.
Just open the flap, tape it to the ground, put some books up and stuff, and just shoot this motherfucker at my sister.
That's tight.
That is really tight.
I used to shoot a different thing at my sister. Hey, come here.
Five.
I'll give it to you.
Five.
Go, dog. Let's go, boys.